I really didn't even want to go outside today. And I will show you why. Can you see the snow? They said 6 to 10 inches. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if it is that because it's wet and it's still coming down. I peeked in the greenhouse, but I am so scared as to what those plants look like. I don't think it's as cold as it has been the last couple nights, so maybe they're okay. So, you know those days where just things can't seem to go right? I think it's gonna be one of those days. Like, the weather really dampened my spirits for the day. I have 50 kits I'm trying to get together. I think I worked until at least 10 o'clock last night, and I still have more work to do. Luckily, I had compost in the greenhouse, and it wasn't frozen. That's a plus. But I have to get more seeds because some of those seeds in the packets were not good. And there weren't as many seeds in some of the packets as I thought, even though I got a bunch. And I'm a little disappointed in that, but what can you do? One thing I know I struggle with and a lot of other people struggle with is pricing. And I am by no means good at it. I would strongly suggest talking to somebody else first. But if you happen to be watching and you're trying to determine how to price your products, once I get everything settled for the day, I'm going to go over my costs for at least this order. I feel like it's a better average to get from, and to determine if my price that I'm asking for is at least making me something. I did do a break on this order because it's for an assisted living place, and I've been very blessed, so I thought I would try to pass that on. It is costing me a little more than I thought, but it's for a good cause, so I can't argue about that. So if you're trying to figure out how to do your pricing for your products, there's like magic formulas you can do. Basically, I just like to know what all my expenses are, divide it by the number of products I made. So like I can take these the expenses that I've done the last couple days, divide it by the number of kits I've done, because I'm going to have some leftover seed, but those are going to go towards other kits, but I'll worry about that math, and determine whether or not you're at least breaking even, and then anything above that, is that income worth your time? Like the amount of hours I've spent on this 50 kit order, I was making chump change, but like I said, that was not the point of this order. All right, I'm switching you over to the computer because I'm a visual person and I like to see things more than just a face. So this is the cost sheet that I made up for our sunflower kits, just so I could see and you could see, am I making money on these? So it doesn't encompass everything. But I did include a column with tax because I have to pay tax on all of these products. But when you're looking at your tax, note that some items are at a food rate, which our food tax is like 1%, and some are at our normal 8% tax. I wasn't 100% sure what was food and what wasn't, so I just did the 8% tax. It may or may not be accurate. It seems like a lot of the seeds were at 8%, but I'm wondering if some were at 1%, so I just stuck with the 8%. And the tax percent is different based on where you are, so don't use my 8%. Look on your receipts and see if it has the tax line with a percentage there, or usually you can Google it and find that out. But that is part of my costs because I had to pay for that. but I also wanted to know what it was just in general. But I was able to make a simple formula to see, so I didn't have to calculate it every time. If this isn't an Excel sheet tutorial, if you want that, I can do it on a separate video. This is just to see whether or not I'm making money on my sunflower kits. So the first item that cost me was compost, and I used organic compost, which I got in bulk. So I looked up the cost of regular organic compost through the garden center or whatever, and it was insanely expensive. Like, if I had to purchase compost, I probably would have needed to buy $60 to $70 worth of organic compost. So I just factored in a price for more like a potting soil, like a Miracle-Gro potting soil or a garden soil, and you could probably get it cheaper if you wanted to, but I wanted a better quality potting soil, so I went with a Miracle-Gro, and that would have cost me $12.90. Now, I got my compost in bulk, so I can't exactly say how much I used and how much it cost me, because I just don't have that factor. So that's an estimate of how much my compost cost, especially if someone else is trying to determine whether or not this would make money for them. I use 5-ounce bath cups. They call them bath cups in the store. They're kind of in the plastic, paper, plastic silverware, paper plate area. And I had to use 2 packages. In total cost me that $3.48. I bought a box of baggies, and I didn't use all of them or the large baggies, but I'm factoring the total cost into my 50 kit sunflower cost just for ease. It cost me a lot more than I figured for seeds, but seed packets come at different prices. In the future, I will probably buy in bulk from somewhere else, because I worry about the quality and that how long they've been sitting on the shelf. I ran out of MI Gardener seeds pretty early on, so I had to supplement what I could get right away. And that's why I think I could bring this number down, honestly. If I purchased by the pound through another company, I think that Jordan Seeds that I looked at earlier, I need to see if they carry sunflower seeds, or when I can, I'll just stock up on MI Gardener seeds. And then I used craft paper. It's a brown cardstock in the scrapbooking area. There's all different kinds of paper that you can use. You could just use a basic white paper if you wanted to, but it has our farm logo, information about sunflowers, and directions, what's included in the kit. But in order to make the 50 cards, I needed to use $2.50 worth of that paper. Sometimes it does go on sale. Like, I have one that was damaged, and so it was on reduced price. But for 100 sheets, it's like $5, and I only needed 50 sheets because I can get 2 cards out of each piece of paper. So I figure the paper cost me $2.50 plus tax. And then I used Post-its for my seed packets. If you watched another video for the sunflower kits, and then I have a tutorial on how I kind of made them, and then another one on how to grow them, I just used Post-its. By the time you fold it in half, you got one side that's sealed, and then you just put tape on either ends. They're super cheap. I can get a stack of Post-its for 88 cents. Once again, I could probably find them in bulk, but for next year, I'm probably going to look into finding mini Ziploc bags and labels. You can get teeny labels that you can print out on your printer, and for the amount of time it took us to fold and tape Post-its and write on them, it would probably be more than worth it to look into mini Ziploc bags and some labels. And you just print them out on a regular printer. You can set them up on your computer. If you're interested in learning about that, you're going to have to shoot me a comment or an email or something, maybe next year, because for now I'm going to stick with this system for this year. So as you can see, my total cost with tax was about $54. So when I make 50 kits, give or take, It cost me $1.08 per kit. So I am mostly making money on these kits, which is what I wanted to make sure of. However, and if you're watching this and you've purchased a kit from me, or you know how much I charge for a kit, you're going to be like, man, you're making bank. Well, not quite. Because when I unhide this list, I didn't include labor. My mom came and helped me. I worked until at least 10 o'clock last night and started up again this morning. And I'm figuring it took us about 10 hours combined to make 50 kits. And that is just approximate. I didn't think it was going to take us that long, but my mom was making Post-its while I was filling bags with compost. We were double teaming the Post-it writing and packing, and that was pretty labor intensive. And me bagging them wasn't too bad, but the time that it takes me to print out the cards takes a while because my printer can only handle one sheet of paper at a time. So I have to sit at the printer and feed it one sheet at a time. And I have to do both sides. I had to purchase more ink for my printer, and ink is expensive in my opinion for printers, but that's just an opinion. So I didn't include any ink costs because I was going to have to purchase ink regardless at the rate I was going through it. But that is a lot of ink going through my printer. It didn't include the wear on the printer, and printer lives are not indefinite. When I put 50 sheets of paper through, that is a lot on a printer. And eventually, if I'm doing this more often, I might have to look into getting more of like a LaserJet printer, because an inkjet, the ink does smear. But and then the other thing that I forgot listed in here was the amount of time to take to cut them in half, because there's 2 cards to a piece of paper, and fold them. So that's also included in my time for labor. And then I delivered these. It wasn't very far, but it did take time and fuel to get them to the person. I've been doing deliveries in other local towns to meet people. So that is time and fuel that I have to account for in my total cost. So I really do make money on these, but I have to be careful about the incidentals that you don't really think about. Like if I put in, let's say 10 hours, even if I just paid myself $10 an hour. Oh, my formulas aren't quite set up. It cost me a lot more. So $10 for 10 hours, that's $100. And my cost just went way up. Like it tripled. You know, you see that? It was $1.08. But when I factor in labor, it goes up to $3.08. That's a $2 per kit increase. So in order to make money, you know, you do have to charge more. But the purpose of this exercise isn't exactly to determine what should I charge for my kits, because I've already done that. But am I making money at my kits? And I am. So I'm grateful for that. It's been worth my time. It's been worth the travel and the ink and the printer and the fuel. But I was thinking my costs were actually a little bit more, but I'm kind of surprised that they aren't more. Seeds, once again, we might be able to lower this cost a little bit if I purchase in bulk. And the Post-it thing that I'm thinking is going to change. If I do this next year, which this has been really well received, and I don't know if it's because it's such a good idea or if it's because people are looking for so many different things to do now that kids are home and living centers are trying to find activities for their residents. You know, there's extenuating circumstances right now. Kids aren't doing sports, so they have more time to fiddle around. So that's what I got to consider for next year. I might not sell as much because the conditions will be different, but I think I can help the bottom line of my expenses by at least changing the amount of labor. So if you're interested in doing some kind of spreadsheet like this, let me know. I can help you set it up. It's not super difficult, at least for me, because I work in Microsoft Excel a lot. These formulas are pretty basic for me. But if you are brand new to Excel, I know it's a little scary to set things up, like my chicken math video. I can either do a video for everyone and how to set up a sheet like this, or I can just like tutor you along in your own sheet or send this to you, and then you could change all this information and this would automatically populate. You might have to change the quantity, but other than that, you can just put in your costs here. You'll have to change your tax rate, but anyway, okay, so bottom line is the sunflower kits are making me money. Doing the chicken math is slightly different. You just have to calculate that differently. But for a product with known costs, I am pretty pleased to know that I am making some money off of this. All right, guys, that's it for today. I know it was probably boring working on math, but I like it. And considering how much snow was on the ground this morning, it's finally gone. The chickens are out and stuff, but it's probably still pretty wet out there and I need to mow. But anyway, I hope everybody's staying healthy and reasonably sane, cooped up in their houses. If there's something you would like me to do a video on, let me know. Post in the comments, or my email is down there. We still haven't found Brooks yet. It's kind of depressing. But anyway, if you would consider subscribing, I would appreciate it. Liking, commenting, sharing video. We'll just check you next time. Be sure to check out our Facebook page, JCT Rustic Homestead. And we'll see you tomorrow.